Hello and good morning, everyone. This is God Bless from CodeFest Institute of Technology. Now, we are going to be starting the Python Bootcamp over here today. Now, if you remember very well, we started this class yesterday, but for some reason or the other, I kind of lost the video. Remember, I was in a hurry when we were about to end the class, and in a way, I kind of off my system and the video was not saved. So, I'm sorry about that. So that's why I'm making this record to kind of like make up for it, right? So, and the beautiful thing about this is that there will be a lot of things that will be cut out of the video, things like the distractions and so on and so forth. So, unlike the class recording I did yesterday, which is the live recording, we won't be having those distractions over here. So let's follow along. Now, the first thing we did was that I showed you guys the applications of Python and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be opening the files we'll be using. So if I go to docs.google.com, right, I think my course outline is here. And also I'm going to open my PowerPoint. The Python stuff is over here as well. So things we covered for the one, I'm going to be teaching them here again. So I think this is it. I'm going to close the one at the back. Um, Good. So this is it. Then let me go back to my what's it called? What's it called? I called it Python. Okay. No. Python Bootcamp was the name. Mm, okay. Okay. No problem with that. So there's a way I'll get it. So if I go over to my WhatsApp, I can get it from my WhatsApp. So there's no issue with that. Or I think I downloaded it. So let me check my downloads. Okay, good. So this is it. So this is the outline. Yeah, this is the outline I'm going to be making use of. So this is the outline, and this my I'm going to close this guy, right? Now the first thing I did yesterday was to show you guys the most popular programming language in the year 2024. You can see that Python is the most popular programming language as of year 2024, right? So when we're looking at most popular programming language, Python and JavaScript, these are the language that always top the chart. So as you can see, Python is for market share is about 28.11%. And also, if we look at average salary, this was the things I did yesterday. Average salary of a Python developer in the world at large. So you can see that a Python developer has an average salary of 85 minimum to 160k US dollar. So if I open this first link, we're going to see something, right? So this is what the average salary of a Python developer is per annum. Then also, I'm going to open a new tab to the right, right? And the reason I couldn't do that was because something was blocking me, so I had to use new tab to the right. If I check average salary of a Python developer in Nigeria, right? This is what we're going to get. Let me see. I think yesterday I saw the one of 250,000 per annum, right? Depending on the skill. Okay, now I'm seeing 1 million per year. The one I saw yesterday was $250,000 and 250,000 naira per month. So you can see that Python is a very lucrative skill, and Python is applied in almost everywhere. So we are going to be making use of W3 schools as a resource. We're going to be making use of W3 school. Also, I'm going to make this guy full screen. I'm also going to be sharing with you from this course outline. So I'm going to increase it. Right? I'm sorry, not this actually. From this course outline rather. Now this is CodeFest Institute of Technology. These are Python course outline, and this is an abstraction from this main course outline. So this is what we're going to be looking at. It's a 2-day Python bootcamp from 14 to 15. Now for day one, session one, we look at getting started with Python. Look at the overview, career path, practical applications, examples, setting up writing and executing code, right? And also we'll go over to Python basics. We look at variable, data types, basic arithmetic, string manipulation, control flow, and so on and so forth. So for session 3, we look at control flow, conditional statement, loops, using break and continuous statement, etc. Then for the two of the program, we're going to be looking at intermediate Python when we talk about it, because for the one, what we are doing all in the one, all through the one with basic Python. So for the two, look at intermediate Python. So we start with data structures, talk about lists, indexing, slicing, appending, and other stuff. So we look at tuples, we look at sets, and we also look at dictionary. And some one way or the other, I forgot to add sets over here, but we'll look at it as well. Now after that, we look at functions, right? Defining the function, the function argument, and return value, scope and namespaces. Like we all know, in almost all programming language, functions are block of code that execute a particular task when called upon. Look at project and next step. Look at hands-on project, um, guidance and further learning, suggestions and additional resource, etc. It's a 2 days Python bootcamp, so we're going to be giving you roadmap what next to learn. Now, if I go over to this, we say the course outline, talk about the introduction. As you all know, this is CodeFest Academy, right? Or CodeFest Institute of Technology. What we do is that we offer soft skill training on anything soft skill, web development, both front end and back end, full stack as well, data science and data analytics, game development and AI, business analysis, and so on and so forth. Just name it, UI, UX, graphics, and so on and so forth. We also do STEMs for STEM for kids, right? So please take note of that. Now, for our course outline for day one, we'll look at the introduction, which I just did that. Then we'll go back to getting started with Python, then Python basics, control flow, and so on and so forth. So, welcome to CodeFest once again. Now, if we go over to the getting started, what are we going to be looking at? Now, first of all, we're going to look at the overview. I'm sorry, I'm a bit fast. That's because I'm trying to, minimize the time. But when the lecture starts, I'm going to try as much as possible to be a bit slow. Now, we look at the overview of Python, right? So, like we said, Python is a high-level programming language. We all know what a programming language is, or we also know what a program is, because as we all know, program is a set of instruction, or programs are set of instruction given to perform a particular task, right? So Python is one of such language that can be used to write a program. And again, Python is a high-level programming language. By high-level programming language, what do we mean? It means that there are a lot of abstraction. Okay, so it doesn't need to run through a compiler and so on and so forth, unlike low-level programming languages. Python is a very high-level programming language, and also all you need is just an interpreter to run Python, right? So taking note of that. What are the career paths in Python? For career path, we have software development, data scientist, web development, and so on and so forth. So if you know Python, you can be either of these. You can be a software developer, you can be a data scientist, a web developer, a data analyst, a robotics engineer, and so on and so forth, right? Then now let's go back to practical applications of Python. So Python has a very raw, should I say, Python has practical application. You can see it's applied in web development, right? Through the use of its libraries, which are Django and Flask. It's also used in data analytics, right? Things like Matplotlib, SciPy, so on and so forth. It's also used in automation, right? If you are doing things related to DevOps, automation, and so on and so forth, Python is also applicable there. I also made mention of robotics, right? Is it Raspberry Pi? I can't really remember. Yes, Python is used there. Scientific applications as well, and so on and so forth. Now, what are the examples of applications that are built with Python? Now, there are some applications that are built with Python, already existing applications. It's important to know that Instagram is one of them. We all know Instagram, the microblogging app or the mini blogging app that is being used to share images and so on and so forth. Was initially built with Django, which is a Python library. There also Spotify. I don't know. I kept confusing, or I kept mistaking Spotify for Shopify. Those are two different applications, though. But then there are a lot of EFI applications. So take note, Spotify, I think it's the music app also. So it was built with Python, Dropbox, and so on and so forth. Right? Uh, Reddit. I think Reddit also. Reddit as well. But okay, I don't know. Just make your research. There are lots of applications built with Python. Now, what about the setting up of our Python environment? Now, in order for us to set up our Python environment, we need just two things. One of them is that we need to install Python, right? So, unlike JavaScript that comes with our computer, because JavaScript was designed to run on Google Chrome's V8 engine, but Python is not like that. It's a full server-side language, like the programming language. We need to install it, right? Then we also need an IDE, right? So, like I said, we need just the Python and interpreter. Now, these IDs come with an interpreter, which may be a terminal and so on and so forth. So, we can use the IDs or text editor. So, please take them. We are going to be making use of, or we are going to be using VS Code. Now, the next will be writing and executing our first Python program. So, let's go over to our desktop and let's see how do we install Python. Now, you just go to python.org, right? And this will take us to Python official website, so I can see downloads. When I click on it, I'll see different versions: 3.13, 3.12, 3.11, 3.10, 3.9, 3.8. So version 3 is the current stable version of Python. So if you install any of this, it's going to work fine. So I think 3.10 or 11 and above is good. And now for text editor, we can come to code.visualstudio.com, right? By the time you come to this place, you can see it's installed for your Windows, installed for your operating system, and also for the BT, that's it for 32-bit. Now, let me just show you our website. Now, this CodeFest University.online, just in case you want to apply for any of our soft skills, you can come to our website, right? And click on the application, then apply for anything you want. Yeah. So just a quick one, guys. Since they are the sponsor of the video, or we are the sponsor of the video, so that's what that. Now, after installing, the next thing you want to do is to open the executable file and do the installation properly. You get, so please take note of that. That's to say, after downloading, you are going to have something like this. Where's my Python? Okay, good. You are going to have something like this for VS Code and something like this for Python. So you just to click on them around the installation, right? I think that's clear enough. Now, before we continue, let me just talk about what they call the GUI and the CLI. Though I have this topic on one of the videos on my channel, but I'm going to be cutting it as a separate video and I'll post it, right? So that would be basic share navigation. I gave a clear explanation, a detailed explanation of what I'm about to tell you. So I'm going to drop that and link it up on the comment section. Now, or on the video description rather. Now, there's what we call GUI and CLI. So what will happen is this: I will open this guy. I'm going to go to docs. So let me just take a little bit of a little note here. Now, like I said, there's what we call GUI. So GUI and CLI. So what is a GUI? GUI stands for Graphic User Interface, right? And CLI stands for Command Line Interface. Then also there's what we call operating systems. Right now we have the Unix, which under which we have the Linux, Mac OS, and Mac OS, right? So Linux and the Mac operating system, OPERATING, right? So there's also what we call the Windows operating system. Now, the Unix operating system, like I said, that's where the Linux and Mac OS fall under. So the Unix operating system deals with what we call the CLI mostly. That's to say, in that you find yourself doing commands most time. You get, so while for the CLI, um, sorry, while for the GUI is mostly similar to the window what you've been using. You get, so when we say GUI, what do we mean? We mean graphic user interface. That is, I can come, I can see icons and folder. Don't forget, from computer application, we learned that Icons are graphical representation of program. Like if I want to go Photoshop, this is what I will use. This is what I will use, and so on and so forth, right? But the Unix operating system, you find yourself doing commands mostly. Now, the thing is that an average Unix operating system user knows how to run commands. So, how much more we that are developers? So, in order for us to practice, there's what we call CMD. When you open your CMD, you can start running commands here. I can do CLS, I can LS, but if I run this, it's not going to work here because I think this confirmed to run on the Windows command by default. So, what I'm going to do is that I will open up my Git bash. I have Git bash installed. Git bash was designed to run on Unix command, right? Now, after opening this Git bash, I'm going to make it a full screen and I will zoom in a bit, right? Now I can ls will list my current files. As you can see, I'm installed on my computer, admin desktop, imch9 something and so on and so forth. Then Windows 64. I don't know this place. Now, if I want to see what I have in this location, you just say ls, which stands to listing files. Now, I see a lot of things: app data, application data, contact, cookies, desktop document, and so on and so forth, right? Now, all I will do is to clear. I've already seen desktop. Now, we all know that desktop is the first place we encounter whenever we are putting on our system for the first time. So I'm going to say cd desktop. So cd means change directory, right? Then you enter the directory you want to go into. So you can see now I'm on my desktop, right? So if I want to go out of the desktop, I will say cd space dot dot. I'm out of the desktop. You get? So let me clear my screen again. CLAR to clear screen. I can't do the CLS here, it won't work. So I need to say CLEAR. Now there's something I can also do as well. Let me see the desktop. I can create folders and files. I can say mkdir. It stands for make directory. I can say Python class code first. I already have something there, so I just need to, make it a bit different. So if I do this, right? So this will give me a folder on my desktop called Python class. And by the time I go back to my desktop background, you see this is folder I just created. Unlike for GUI, now if I want to do something like GUI, you also come and right click new, and I'll say code first, GUI. Right, so this one is created with CLI, while this one is GUI. So I'm going to be deleting this, then this one I will leave it, right? Then now if I see the code, if I ls now, these are the things I have on my desktop. As you can see, Python class is here, which is this folder, which is where is this. So all the things that are here, these are the things over here. You get. So it's just that in CLI we make use of commands alone. You don't. There's nothing like drag and drop, no graphical icon and anything. You just command alone, right? Remember when you were small, when you used to watch these hacking movies, you see a guy with hoodie pressing, just on the system, you see red, green, yellow, and stuff like that. So this is giving you the feel of a programmer. So please take note of that. So I'm going to clear my screen and I'll see the code first underscore Python. So let me see. Okay, no, this is not that one. Class. Okay, I've forgotten the name I gave you the folder just now. It's called Python class code first. I'll say cd Python underscore class underscore code. Let me see. Python underscore class underscore code first. Python. Oh, I made a mistake in the spelling. Right, so let me just come back here and rename this. So if I rename this pyt ish, right? So let me just run this command again. So you can see I'm now on that place, right? So I can create a file by saying touch let me say touch class 1.py, right? So if I do this is what I will get. So let me clear my screen. Now, like I said, we're not going to be making use of this. I have a video whereby I explain basic shell navigation, a lot of activities like copying and pasting a folder, listing, cards. There are a lot of commands there. I'm going to, make that as a separate video and link it on the description so that you guys can have it. So I'm going to close this. Now, let's assume that you just install your VS Code, you want to run it. So just to click on VS Code and it will open up for you, right? Now, after doing this, I'm going to close this. Now, the next thing you need to do is that you click on File, add folder to Workspace. The name of the folder we're adding is Python CodeFest Python class CodeFest rather, right? So, like I said, this will be a revision of what we did yesterday or repetition of what we did because I wanted to share the video, but one way or the other, I lost it. So, we already promised you guys that we're going to be sharing the videos of the class. That's why I'm making this video again, right? So, just take note of that. Now, I'm going to make this like this. Then I'll bring this guy over here. We've talked about all of this, so let's look at writing our first Python code. Now, like I said, we need an interpreter to run Python code. And now, what we're going to be using is terminal. Right? Click on new terminal. But first, how do you check if Python has been installed? Now, your panel position, before I continue, you can right click, come here, take panel position to the bottom, or right click, come here, take panel position to the right. I will leave my own at the right hand side. That's what I want to use. Alright, so how do you check if Python has been installed? Now, if you want to check if Python has been installed, all you need to do is to type Python. Right, it will open a Python interactive console for you. So you can decide to run Python code. This is a valid Python statement. I can say 7 plus 6 is also a valid Python statement. I can say name equal to code first, right? And I can say print name, right? Going to print out code first for me, right? I can see here by the time I do this, can you see what I'm getting? I can do I can say exit. Okay, it didn't work. I can say exit. That will take me out of the interactive console, right? So please take note of that so I can clear my screen. Now, even if I have a bunch of work, I can use CLS to clear my screen as well, right? So please take note of all of this. Now, let's look at writing and executing our first Python program. Now, if I come here, I can do something like print. I'll say hello world, right? Now, if I come back here, how do I run this? You just say Python define name.py. So I'll say Python class 1.py. Sorry, my Python was wrong. Python class 1.py. You can see I'm getting hello world. Now, also take note. Now, if I'm on the desktop and I try to run this command, I'm going to get an error. The reason is because this folder or this directory is on the desktop. Like this file is inside the folder which is on my desktop. You get, so it's not directly under the desktop. So I need to enter that file, which is by doing cd python underscore class underscore class, right? Underscore code first, then clear my screen, then I will now say Python class one dot py. Sorry about that. That's one dot py. Sorry about that, guys. So right, this is so I've been able to do this. Now you notice that when I want to print my Python statement, I put it in a string, like in a quote, right? So it is important to know that there are different or various data types. You can't just come here and do something like this. You get, if I do this and I try to run, I'll get an error. Right? So it's important to know the rules in Python and work according to the rules. By the time I run this will run. So this is my Python output. Now what does the print statement do? The print statement is used to output Python code, right? So let me go over to my slide again. Like I said, the print statement is used to output Python code. Now, before we continue, let's talk about a few things in Python. Um, Python is very easy to write. It's as easy as English language. That's how the syntax is, right? So I'm going to show you a picture web.facebook.com. Sorry, web.whatsapp.com. I just pray I see this picture. But before that, let me also show you other things. Now, there's what we call comments in every programming language. Now, what are comments? Comments are lines of code that are not executed by your browser. What they do is just that are used to give an explanation or description of your code. You get, so if I have something like this, I have 50 of it, and I just have one of this. Those ones won't run. You get, if I run, it's just this one that will be printed out. If I uncomment these ones, when I run this code again, they will be printed out. So take note. This comment in Python is done using this hash symbol, right? So if I have something like this at the front of this, I say comment. You can see that the comment is after my code, right? So if I should comment all of this and I run that line of code, the code will still run. You get, because the comment, the hash symbol comes after the print hello world. So please take note of that. Now there's what we call this is an example. This is what we call an example of a single line comment. So let me just say single line comment, right? And there's what we call doc string. Now doc strings are created using what's it called? Theory of this guy, right? So this is doc string. So I can say I am a doc string, a multi line comment, right? So those strings are examples of multi-line comments in Python. So you can use to give a documentation of your work. So or you see something like this, triple of this, and then say I am also a doc string, also a multi-line comment, right? A multi-line. So think of this. So these are comments in Python. Right, so if I have Python code spread all over these places, let me say I have one there, I have one over here, I also have one here, right? And I run this code, you notice that those ones are not printing, it's just only the print statement. Yeah. So all of these guys, they won't be printed out, so take notes, right? So let me just comment everything. So we all know what the comment is now in Python. So let me clear my screen. Yeah, I guess this has opened. So let me just check the Python. Python, what's it called? There's a picture I'm trying to show you guys. I just pray I find this picture. Um, give me give me a minute. My minute is almost finished. Okay, guys, I'm sorry about this delay, but then we just have to see this picture. It will be very helpful. When we say Python is easy, what do we mean by saying Python is easy? That's what I want to show you guys. Now let me just go over here. Okay, good. Now this is what I want to show you guys. Now for a language like C++, if I want to print hello world, I need to go through this process, include stream, int, main, then count less than. God, this is crazy. Then for a language like Java, I also need to do something like class hello world, probably because Java is object oriented in nature. Okay, so Python is also object oriented, but then it's easy. So this Python, you just print hello world, finish, I'm there. You can see the lines of code these ones are taking, but Python is just a single line of code. That's what I wanted to know. Python is easy, like it's as easy as English language. You get the syntax is as easy as English language. Readable, nice, clean, and organized. You get to take note of that. And again, it has a wide range of application. That's why it's very, very popular. Imagine learning a language like PHP is which only geared towards web development. JavaScript, I think similar thing. But for a language like Python, you can use it for web development, use for every other thing, machine learning, data analysis, AI, and so on and so forth. You get, so please take note of that. So that's why I would really advise you to pick up a career in Python after this basic program. Don't stop here, go for other Python courses. You get, so we have a lot of premium Python courses which will be unveiling to you guys very soon. So but for now, let's continue with this class. Now I'm going to make this a bit smaller, then I'll go over to variable and data types. Now you notice that when I wanted to print my hello world, I had to put it in a quote. You get, because there's what we call data types in Python. So I'll say variable and data types, right? Now, what is a variable? Now, a variable is a container. I'm sorry, my spelling is kind of wrong. For storing value. Yeah. And when we say container, what do we mean? If I say name, for instance, is equal to code first, right? Then I want to print out this name. We just say print code first, right? So please take note of that. I'm sorry, not print code first, print name, right? Now, name is a container that was used to store code first. So that whenever I need code first now, it's just for me to print that name. So when I run this, this is what I will get, right? Now, I forgot to mention the file extension for Python is .py. So please take note, every file has their extension. For images, I have things like JPG, .png, .webp, and so on and so forth. For music, I have .mp3 and other extensions. For video, I have .mp4 and other extensions as well. For HTML, I have .html, CSS, JavaScript.js, PHP.php, but for Python, we have .py for Python, right? So I want you guys to take note of that. And also, Python uses snake casing. Let me just point this out. Python uses snake casing. So PHP also uses snake casing. Then JavaScript uses what we call camel casing. Now, what is snake casing? Snake casing is if I want to join name and I say first underscore name, I go to something like code first. Can you see what I'm having? So this is what we call snake casing in Python, right? So not that I can't use camel case. Camel case is when I do something like first name, right? I go to code first. It will also work, but the difference is that this is for JavaScript. That is to say there are some inbuilt code you want to write, some inbuilt method and so on and so forth in Python that uses this underscore. So it is better for us to follow that trend whenever we're writing Python code. Then for JavaScript, the inbuilt method and functions that are written with camel casing. You get, it is better for us to follow that trend when we are writing JavaScript code. So for Python, we are going to be making use of the snake casing, right? So please take note. Now I say first name equal to code first. Now if I want to print out first name, it's not good to say print first uh, underscore name. Now if you do this is going to print out a string for you. You get. Now what we want to get is a variable. This variable is already holding a data, right? So we can do this way. We can say Python class 1.py. So this will give us this guy, right? Now the reason I'm able to bring this guy easily is because if you write a command on your command line tool, you can go back in time by using your up arrow key. You see your previous command, then down arrow key will bring your new commands, right? So just take note of that. I think somebody asked that question yesterday. Now that's for that. So this for Python variable assignment and so on and so forth. So there are different ways to name a variable, but always make sure a variable is descriptive. Like if I want to do something like age, it's not good to say last name, right? Equal to 23. No, this is not proper. Instead, I can do something like age or score. Those are the things that are descriptive. So I can do something like score equal to 55. These are holding this data type. Then also there's what we call rating. Can do something like 2.5, you get, or 4.5. So you can see now we are talking about different data over here. So let's go back to data type. The type function. And let's look at data types in Python, right? Now, Python has data types that are grouped into primitive and non-primitive data types. We can also be grouped into mutable and non-mutable data types. So I'm going to give explanation of primitive and non-primitive and also mutable and non-mutable. So they are the same, just a little difference. Some of the primitive are mutable. Some so are immutable rather. So let's just continue. So we can see non-mutable or immutable. So please take note of this. Take note of this. So now let's go with the primitive data types. This was where we stopped yesterday after explaining them. Now for primitive data type, I have what we call string. Sorry, I won't start with string. I have int, I have float, I have string, and I also have what we call boolean, right? So take notes. Now let's talk about int. If I say number in Python, now unlike JavaScript, you see var number or const number or let number. You don't need all those keywords. Then PHP, you need to say this and number. You don't need it in JavaScript. So in Python rather, Python is just as simple as English language. I just say number equal to 23, right? So you don't need this as well. I'm used to. So if I print number, this is what I'm going to be getting, right? When I run my code, you can see I'm getting 23. Now there's what we call the type function, right? So let's talk about the type function. And don't forget, print is also a function. Don't forget. Now, how do you know functions in programming language? Functions are invoked using parentheses. So I can do something like a note. Sorry about this. I say note functions or methods. That functions are also called methods are invoked using parentheses. I don't know if my spelling is correct. Never mind. There's a popular saying that says English is difficult, but never mind. That's not our main focus. So I can say type, right? Number. And let's see the data type of number. Now, if I clear my screen and I check this, you can see I'm having 23 and class of int. Now, what does this mean? In Python, almost everything is an object. And the way we classify objects is by referring to them as a class or by grouping them in classes. Again, so the class of this object now is integer. So please take note. So whenever I want to talk about object in Python, we can talk about their classes. Whereby class is the blueprint of how an object should look like. So please take note of that. So take note of that. It's kind of hard to take it now, but take note of it. And now I'll do something like rating. I'm going to 4.5, right? So I'm going to be printing out rating. I'm sorry. I'm going to be printing out rating and type of rating, right? So like I said, this the first one is the int data type. Now this second one is the float data type. So when I print this out, you can see I'm getting a class of float. Now int, right? For int, let me just do something like this, a little note. So I'll say int, right? These are whole numbers, right? Then for float or floating point numbers, I'll say these are numbers with a decimal point, right? Then now let's talk about another thing. Let's talk about the string. So if you have 4.7, 29 point something, 4.0, these are all floats, right? So now for strings are sequence of characters enclosed. I'm sorry, there's something I ate this morning. That's the reason I'm clear my throat and I didn't take water. But nevertheless, yeah. So these are a sequence of characters enclosed in single, right? Or double quotes. So that's what strings mean. Right? So if I come here, I can do something like name, or I can say something like first underscore name equal to quote first, right? I can do something like email, or let me just say company name instead of first name, company name. So you know why I'm doing this now, underscore, right? So I'll say company email is equal to quote first ne at gmail.com, right? So if I print name, okay, I want to use a double quote here so that we see that both of them are the same thing, right? Now if I print company name, sorry I'm kind of fast, but then you just have to bear with me. If I print out company name, right? And I run this by saying Python class1.py. You can see that company name gave me code first and the class is of string, right? Then so let me print out company email. Then let's see what we're going to get. It's also going to give us the same class of string. Can you see what I'm getting? Company email, company code first ng at gmail.com, and class is also string. So take note of that, guys. That's what the string data type. So let's talk about boolean, right? Now boolean are true or false statements. So it's either true or false. Let me comment all of this. Comment this. We don't need them for now, right? So booleans that they are used in decision making, making, right? It's either true or false valid. So take note. So booleans are one of these two. So in Python, how do you write a boolean? We write them by using capital letter true and capital letter false, right? Other language uses small letter, but please take note of them. Now if I say um is married, I can set this to false, right? Then I can print is married. I can print out this is married here. So come over here and do something like is married, right? Now when I clear my screen around this, I can see that I have false as a value and the boolean, the class is of type is a boolean class, right? And I can do something like is I can say code first is underscore good, right? I can set this to true, right? So if I comment this, print out code first is good. Let's see what we're going to get, right? Clear my screen, run this. You can see I'm getting true value and a class of boolean. Now, in most cases, you don't want to bring out a boolean like this. You can do something like x or statement equal to x, let me say 7 greater than 6, right? Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to print out statement and the type of statement. Let's see what we get, right? So I'm just going to take this up, clear my screen. Can you see what I'm getting? I'm getting true on the class of boolean. So that will take us to our next topic, right? Which is operations using Python, right? So because there are some operations we need to learn about. So we're going to look at basic operations using Python. I'm glad we've covered up to where we stopped yesterday. Now let's look at the basic operations using Python, right? So I know most of you hate maths, but then you just have to be as I'll say basic operations using Python, right? And these operations are done with numbers, so that's why we're starting with this. Now take note, Python numbers are either integer or float, so there's nothing like number in Python. So integer or float, but when I say number, just try to relate to me, right? Then now I can do something like let x equal to 3, then let y be equal to 4. Let me use 3, let me make use of 20, right? Now watch what this will give me. Now if I come back and I say z, so let me start with addition, right? Now if I say z is equal to x plus y, let's see what we're going to get. So I'm going to be printing out z and the type of z, right? So please take me. Now don't forget these are integer, right? So when I combine them using addition, I will have the value and the class will also be an integer class. So please take note of this. Then now also let's look at subtraction. Now if I say z equal to x minus y, now I don't need to comment the first one out because this is reassigning the value of z, right? So I can come back here and run this. You can see I'm getting 16. So 20 minus 4 is 16, and the class is also of int, right? So let's go over to multiplication. And for multiplication, I will see z equal to x asterisk y, right? So if I do this and save, clear my screen, and run this, I'm going to get 80 because 20 by 4 is going to give me 80. 20 times 4 is going to give me 80. So just take note of that. Then let's look at division. Now also don't forget the data type. It's giving me a class of int. Now if I run division, right, what am I going to get? So I'm going to say z equal to x over y, right? So by the time I clear this and run this, you can see I'm getting 5.0. Now what does this mean? This is giving me a float data type. So in mathematics, addition, subtraction, multiplication, they are kind of cool, but when it comes to division, it behaves as a separate guy. So if you notice, this is giving me floating point number. I'm combining two integers. Now how do you get integer in this case? Now how do I get integer? I can start to do something like this. I will say z should be equal to the int. I'll do what they call typecasting, int of this, right? So when I run this will give me an integer class, but then I don't want to use typecasting. There's what we call floor division in Python, right? Now floor division is gotten by doing something like x divide y, right? So when I clear my screen and run this, I'm going to get 5, which is an integer value. So you can see the classes of class int. So please take note of that. Now there's what we call the modulus in Python. Now what does modulus do? Modulus is used to get the remainder when a certain value is divided by another. So if I say x modulus. Why? Modulus is percentage. If I run this, I'm going to get 0 and class of integer. I want to know that when 20 is being divided by 4, my answer is going to be 5 remainder 0. So that's why I'm having 0. So 0 is remainder here. Now, if for instance, my value of my um x is 23, for instance, now what will happen? You already know what my answer will be. If I divide this, the remainder will be 3 and also be a class of int. So please take note of that. So let me leave it as 20, clear my screen, then run this 0 and class int. Right, so I'm going to um okay, now I know most of you will be asking, is this thing important? Why are we learning modulus and so on and so forth? Yes, it's important. And let me give you an example. Now, if I want to get the numbers from 1 to 100, what will I do? I can do something like for I in range, right? 100. Is that not so? Now I can do something like print I, right? Now if I run this, you can see I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on and so forth. Now if I want to get the even numbers, you just to see if I mod y equal to 0, right? I want it to print I. So this is what I will get. So if I tap this in, this will give me only the even numbers, right? So please take note. If I run this, you can see I'm getting just the even number. So you can see that is very, very important, right? There was something I forgot to explain when I was doing variable. Now, variable makes it such that our codes are kind of reusable. Now, what does that mean? If I want to print out hello world, so I'm just going to grab this hello world. This was the last thing. I did this thing yesterday, but one way or the other, I forgot to mention in this video. Now, if I grab this guy and paste it over here, let me say I need 5 of this or any number of this, and see where the power variable comes in. Now, if I should run this code, you notice that I'm getting hello world into this number of places. Now, if I was asked to change this to hello code first, I'm going to come here, say code first, right? Come to the next line, say code first. Yes, so I'm going to do this in almost all of the files, right? Or almost all of where I'm printing this. Okay. Although I'm using a shortcut here. But as you can see, this is time consuming. This is just a simple case. Imagine that this is something that is occurring in, let me say, up to 5 different files. You find out that you go into those 5 files and start changing it, right? So the best thing to do here, this is where the power variable is to assign this to a variable. I will say greet as a variable name equal to hello world, right? Such that if I want to print out 100 of this, just to come here and say print greet, then I can duplicate this. So whenever I want to get my value, just to come here, run this, right? Now, if later in the future I want to update this code, there's no need of changing this in different location. You just to go back to one location and do something like hello code first, right? So by the time I save, clear my screen and run this, you can see I'm getting hello code first. So that's one. Then also, this thing I did here is also, time consuming and the rest of them. Now in programming, there's a principle called the dry principle, right? Which stands for don't repeat yourself, right? So let me lay emphasis on this. So I'm coming. Don't repeat yourself. Right? So this is what you notice in programming. Now when you find out that there's a constant repetition of something, just have it at the back of your mind that there is supposed to be a method that will make that thing easy. Now, if I want to print 100 of this, instead of me to copy and paste, that's what I can do. Remember, I just showed you loop, not quite long. So I can run a loop, right? Loop is something that runs continuously, provided a certain condition is being met. So I can do something like this. I'll say for I in range, let me say I need 100 of it, 100. I'll say print great. Sorry, print great. Yeah, so by the time I do this, run my code, you can see what I'm getting. So that's for that. So this is where the power variable is. It makes it such that codes are reusable. You don't need to stress yourself and so on and so forth, right? So please let's take note of that. So like I said yesterday, this was where I stopped. So this class is supposed to be a continuation of yesterday's class, but then let's see. I'm thinking of making a record of this day one such that day two's class will be kind of separate because this is day two and we're not able to complete day one's class. So let me just see. So let's look at string and string manipulation. Okay, let's look at string and string manipulation. So we're just going to continue. So let's look at strings and string manipulation, right? Now, what are strings? So earlier on, I defined strings as sequence of characters that are enclosed in single or double quotes. Is that not so? Let me check for this. Okay, now in VS Code, if you press Ctrl F, you can search for whatever you're looking for by using this. So let me come back here. Good, I've gotten my definition. So this was what I defined earlier on. Strings are sequence of characters enclosed in single or double quotes, right? So we've all seen it. So I'm going to comment all of this just to avoid possible errors in the future. So let's go back. Now, I give an example. I can see first name, right, equal to code first, right? Now say last name equal to academy, right? So I can decide to print out first name, comma last name, right? So these are strings. Please take note of this. So these are strings. When I clear my screen, I can run this. I'll get code first academy, right? So there's also what I can do. I can decide to use a plus to join them, right? So this is what we call concatenation, which we are going to see later on. So I can do something like this, right? So I'm cutting a space to it. By the time I run this, you can see I'm getting code first academy, right? So now the first thing we're going to look at in string is called string concatenation. Let me say string concatenation. Now what is concatenation? So concatenate means to join strings, and so concatenation. Sorry, I can't spell. I'll say means to join string end to end, or let me say using addition, using plus. Let me just use it this way. Right now, if for instance I have name equal to code first, right? Now, if I want to join this to a sentence, now I can do something like print. I'll say code first, right? Is okay. Now I want to do this. I will say a good place to learn programming is, I'll say plus name, right? Now what this will give me. So if I print this out, you can see a good place to learn programming is code first. Now if I should come back here and use code first here, I'm out coding it, right? So if I run this, I'm out coding it. But if I'm using this variable name, it means that later on I can update this to say code first academy, right? So even if I run this now, you see that I'm also getting code first. Why? Because I'm at coding. So what I'm supposed to do is to say name, right? So this is what will give me the dynamic value. So if I clear my screen, I run this again, you can see a good place to learn programming is code first academy, right? So this take note of that. Then now also I can do something like this. I can do something like name equal to code first, right? Now say age equal to 3, right? So I can do something like print code, sorry, I will say name, right, plus, now put a space is, right, now say plus age, right, now say plus years old, right. Now there's something I want us to take note of over here. So let's watch. We're going to get an error. If I run this, you will see I'm getting an error. Now the reason I'm showing you this error is because I want us to learn how to read and understand Python error. That will make learning how to debug very easy for us, right? Now this is what I'm having. I said trace back, okay, code first line of period like 164, name plus, okay, fine. They say type error. They say can only concatenate string, not int, right? So what does that mean? I cannot do concatenation on what's it called? I can't do concatenation on integer. I can only do it on strings. Now, don't forget, I was supposed to talk about typecasting. Remember when I did something like int, right? So now we're supposed to typecast. Now, what does typecasting mean? So let me just demonstrate typecasting before going back. Now, typecasting, right? Now, to typecast simply means to change one data type to another. Now, let's say I have age equal to 23, right? We all know that if I'm printing out this age and the type of age, right? Now, what should if I'm printing out age and type of age, I'm going to get 23 and class of int, right? But if I have string age, now I've typecasted this. There's a language like this. I've changed it into a string value. So if I clear my screen and run this, you can see I'm having 23 and the class is now a string class. So this is an example of typecasting. So I can convert a string to a number and a number to a string, right? So please take note of this. When I say integer or float, so please take note. You might see it later on. So if I want to, let me just show you something. If I want to convert this to a floating point number, I will just say float, right? Then if I typecast, if I print this, you can see I'm getting 23.0 and the class is of float, right? So please take note of that. So let me come back here. So how do we solve this issue at hand? It's just to come back here and say string, right? Then do something like this. So by the time I run this, you can see I'm getting CodeFest is 3 years old. So please take note of that. So this is what we call concatenation. But then if you notice, we are going out of strings, coming out and going in again, right? Also take note, if you are starting with a single quote, you must send with a single quote. If you are starting with double, you must send with double quote, right? So I can come back here and do something like this. Double quotes, right? So let me do this. So if I run this, I'm also going to get code first is 3 years old. So please take note. I can't do this and end with a single quote. So this will give me an error. I'm already getting an error from it, but by the time I run it, you see the error. Right, so let me just control C it and comment this line, right? So this or that. Now you can see that concatenation is kind of should I say difficult. We have to start a string, go inside the string, go out of the string, go in again, and so on and so forth. Whenever there's a variable, there's what we call the Python format method, right? Now I can come back here. I'll see print. Um, okay, I'm going to be ending this recording here. I'm going to stop this recording over here. Okay. Okay, let me see if I'll continue. So there's what we call the Python format method, right? So I can do something like this. I will have name, right? Is age years old, right? And I'll say dot format, right? I'll say name, age, name equal to name, then age equal to age, right? So I'm going to uncomment these guys, right? So that we read them. Then over here, I'll do something like this, um, right? Age years old, right? So let's see what we're going to get. So if I print this, you can see code versus 3 years old. It's giving me code versus 3 years old as well. That's what I'm having. So let me see. I don't. If I do this, am I supposed to? Because I've already defined the variable. Let me see. If I run this, okay. I'm supposed to assign it to the variable like this. So it's correct. So if I clear my screen, you can see what I'm getting. So I can update these values. I can see this should be 89. Sorry, I can see this should be code first institute, right? Then this should be 77, right? So let me just play with this. By the time I run it, code first institute is 77 years old. Now this is what we call the Python format method, right? So there's also what we call the f string. I think f string works in Python 3.6 and above, so I'll say f strings, right? Now what does f string do? I'll say print, you just say f, right? I'll say name, right? Is age, right? Years old. Now if I do this and I run my code, you You can see I'm getting CodeFest is 3 years old, right? So please take note of this. Now, how does F-string do? What's the difference between F-string and Python format method? As you can see, F-string is the easiest method over here, right? So it's just similar to when you are doing something like template literals in JavaScript. So please take note of that, right? So please take note. Now let's look at string functions, right? So let's look at basic string function. There are lots of it. So I'm just going to say let string be equal to, I don't know, okay, this is not giving us an error. Press God, I'll say hello world, right? So the basic string functions we have, now let's look at length, right? Now if I print the length of this string, what will I get? Now the length of a string simply tells the amount of character, the number of character that string is having. Sorry, not there. So, not there. Okay, good. Now, if I clear my screen and run this, you can see that this is having 11. So let's count. How is this level? HELLO, that's 5 words. WRLD, another 5. Then the space is added to it, making it 11. Right? So space is also a character. So if I say run this, I'll get 10. Right? So please take note of that. So let me Ctrl Z, run this again. I'm going to get 11. Right? So let me clear my screen. Now that's about length. Length is the amount of character in the Python string. Now there's what we call indexing. So let me just say length of a string. That's CRI, right? There's what we call indexing. Now indexing simply means to get the position of a character, right, by index in a Python string. Now what does that mean? If I say print string square bracket 0. Now what will this give to me? If I clear my screen, I'm going to get ish. Right, so let me just comment this guy, clear my screen again, and run this. Now this is giving me ish. Now what is that ish? The ish is the first character here. It's important to know that Python is zero-based index. So please take note of that. Zero-based index. Right, so please take note. If I want to get hello, if I want to get D, what will I do? Or if I want to get E, just to say this one, right? So this will give me E, right? Now, the way of getting or the way of printing out the first character of a string is very easy. Just to say 0, right? So this will give me first character of every string, right? So please take note. What about the last character of every string? Now, it is important to know that the last character of a string vary. That's to say, because all strings cannot have the same length. God bless is different from Hello World, is different from CodeFest. You can see that the length is different, or the lengths are different. Now, how do you not get the last character of every string? You can get it by saying print, right? So the last index is when you do something like the string dot string square bracket string dot length -1, right? This will give me the last index. The last index, this will give me the last index, string dot length -1. So the last character is when I index it, right? So if I print this, let me just comment this. I'm going to get the last character. Let me see. String dot length -1. Oh, sorry, I'm using JavaScript method. I'm supposed to say length of string. Length. This is what I'm supposed to do, right? So this is what I'm getting. I'm getting D. Is that not so? Now this is the program. This is the problem with programming in different languages. I do program in Python, PHP, JavaScript. Sometimes I tend to miss the syntax, but nevertheless, so let's continue. So length of string giving the length, then -1 giving the last index, right? So when I index that, that will give me the last character. So please take note of that. Take note of that. The other Python method, I'm just going to get my notes and check for them and explain them as well. So give me a few seconds. Other Python string function. Okay, so I have capitalize. So let me see. So still on this string. Now what does capitalize do? This will bring so if I have something like this, print capitalize capitalize string. This spelling is not correct. Let me see. My spelling is not correct. I'm coming. Let me check. The capitalize string. Python. Let me see. Yes. Okay, string dot capitalize. Oh, I'm sorry. So I was supposed to do something like the string name, which is string dot capitalize, right? Dot capitalize. Is that not so? So this is the method. So if I clear my screen and run this, you can see I'm getting hello world. Now this is already capitalized by default. So if I change this to small letters, for instance, H, small letters, and I run this, now this is what I'll get. Yeah. Now let me give another sentence. Let me say the quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog. The quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog. So if I save this and run it now, what should happen? Can you see what I'm getting? Print string dot capitalize. Um, oh. I'm sorry. It only changes the first one. You get only the first word. As you can see, the T of the capital letter T has been changed to capital letter T. You see the T of this sentence has been changed. So please take note of that. I was expecting to change it to title case, and there's supposed to be a method for title case. Well, never mind. Maybe as we proceed, we might see one of it. So please take note of that. So if I have something like this and I clear my screen, the time I run this, you can see the H is now in capital letter hello world, right? So if I say string again, equal to code first, right? And I print this out, you can see the C is now in capital letter. So please take note, that's what the capitalize does. Please, I'm coming. Okay.